What led to these massive marches, to this massive outburst? Historians like to seek multiple causes, but I have one interpretation. Here it is. As long as ideas of family commitment and femininity rationalized women's limited demands to the rewards of wage work, the inequity of discrimination in the workplace seemed merely natural. Remember, we called this separate spheres. But by the 21st century, these ideas had changed. No longer defined by their family status as mothers, wives, and daughters, women entered the workforce as permanent workers. Survey after survey reported that young women no longer expected to spend their lives as stay-at-home mothers, and men no longer expected to be the sole breadwinners in the families they formed. The two-income family had become the norm. The new model, an adult worker model, assumed that every adult would bear responsibility for his or her own economic support, that women, like men, could make it on the basis of individual effort and hard work. By 2018, in 30% of all two-income heterosexual families, women earned more than their male partners. All this added up to a massive change in how gender was imagined, or indeed, whether gender mattered in the way it once had. If men could be carers and women breadwinners, what was the meaning of gender? You will remember how just a generation earlier, the mainstream women's movement sought simply to drop the barriers against the entry of women into professional schools and good jobs. We sometimes call this phase liberal feminism, and we know that it benefited white, educated women more than any other group, lifting women of color more slowly and sometimes pitting women against each other. But a world where more and more men and women refused to be defined by traditional roles required not equality between men and women, but equality for all human beings. This new world, a world of human equality, demanded fairness and justice as a general principle. The Women's March of January 21st, 2016 reflected the new reality. It drew an astonishing and diversified turnout. Marchers who took to the streets of every American city in January 2017 and again that summer and the following year declared their commitment to an inclusionary set of values. Joined by women throughout the world, they reflected the search not only for gender equality, but for racial justice and an end to gross economic inequality. The press estimated the turnout at perhaps 2 million men and women in the major cities of the United States, and up to 5 million worldwide. Leaders and marchers allied themselves with the major social movements of the day, including the Black Lives Matter movement and movements to defend immigrant rights. Many focused on environmental issues, arguing, in the words of the organizers, that every person and every community in our nation has the right to clean water, clean air, and access to and enjoyment of public lands, and that our environment and our climate must be protected, that our land and natural resources cannot be exploited for corporate gain or greed, especially at the risk of public safety and health. Marchers shared the stage with Planned Parenthood and stood firmly behind reproductive choice. They included advocates of transgender and LGBTQ equality, of gun control and universal health care. Many marches reached across class lines to protest the increasing wealth gap and demanded at least a modest redistribution of income. Others joined the campaign for a higher minimum wage and carried banners with the slogan, "Fight for 15." A few held signs calling for free public education through the college years. The prevailing mood echoed the spirit of a long-running campaign to insist that women's rights are human rights, once a slogan adopted by Hillary Clinton herself.
If there is one message that echoes forth from this conference, let it be that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights once and for all.
Marches offered the promise of solidarity across race, class, and gender lines. Under the slogan, "Build bridges, not walls," they suggested an end to the divisive attributes of an earlier feminism and the possibility that women could shore up a political campaign for social justice for all. What had been a disparate set of women's movements, each with a seemingly different agenda, coalesced around larger issues. To be sure, mighty issues and divisions remained, but some, including reproductive choice, immigration, mass incarceration, and health care, drew coalitions across lines of race, class, and gender. They heralded a new phase of the women's movement.